We are going to rebuild one of the crossovers. So this crossover here also has a broken pin, part of our ongoing machine jam issue. And I've already partly disassembled it. Here is what we're gonna build into. This is a crossover that was empty. And then here is another crossover that's the same number that I'm gonna use as a reference. So on this particular crossover, this is crossover number 5. These rollers on top are sort of a medium hard rubber, and then underneath there is a black hard plastic roller. So they're the same on both sides. It's hard plastic on the bottom, rubberish on the top. There's other rollers, like in this one that we're taking apart, that are sort of a spongy, and these are brown, I believe, because they started out white. And those are usually in the developer. For some reason we have them on the same crossover 5. I'm not sure why. So we're going to use this as the reference to help us rebuild into this one. And I need these 2 black hard rubber rollers out of this. So I'm going to disassemble this rack to get those. I already have some other rollers. So these are 2 new of the rubber roller that we need. There's also a different style where it has these ribs. I don't understand what the difference is, but we're not going to need those. So when you go to disassemble the crossover, you have to take off these black gears. They're held on by a little C-clip. I've already taken them off. Most of the time when I do it, they do not come off willingly. Even with a screwdriver trying to pry them up, they do not like to come off. These all 4 popped off relatively easily. And boy, this one that I just placed back on there after I took it off really doesn't want to come off. Okay, so now that I got it off, you can see what's underneath. If they really don't want to come off, I'll take a pair of wire cutters from them and cut off the gear, cut it in half, and then pop it off. I've definitely had some where they become sort of fused onto these pins. So from here, there is a little spring on each one. Pop that off. And then this gray thing is a 2-part thing. There's a little tiny collar that goes on one end. This is what the spring is keeping, trying to keep it to the inside, to this one. Take that off. Then this plastic piece should pop off relatively easily. Like so. And then you can grab the rollers. I still don't have them disconnected from the other side. It's the same thing on the other side. All 4 of these are the same gray piece, with this little thing has a little square shape on that side, keeps it in there, and then the spring wraps around it. Basically, I always replace all of this whenever I work on the rack. So all of the gears, all of these gray things, I do reuse the springs. Okay, so I have my 2 hard plastic rollers, and here are the 2 rollers that are going to go above them, and then here is my sort of template. This is the rack we want it to look like, so the hard rollers are on the bottom. So the pin is longer on that end than at this end, plus this end is where the notch is, right there, for the gear. And I can see this pin sticking out for the double gear, so all the gears are going to be on that end. So this is going to go in there. And it looks like we can feed it through here. Maybe that'll work. And this is the other one, we'll do that. And then these ones, same thing. That's where the flat edge is. This is going to be on the inside, sort of on the bottom. And we pop that thing out on that side. That's okay. I popped the other one out. Kind of thought that was going to happen. But now I've got the rollers in the crossover, and now I just need to put on the little gray pieces and pop in the little other thing that the spring wraps around, put the springs on, and we'll be good. So one thing I like to do when I'm putting this back together is before you put the springs on, undo the spring. They're sort of attached to each other, and then go rinse them out and sort of pull on them. Sometimes there's crusty stuff stuck inside the coils of the spring, and you want to get that out. So rinse them off and then sort of pull on them if you see crusty stuff, and try to get the crusty stuff out. So now I have the springs back in. You sort of hook them onto each other and then wrap them around one end, pull it over to the other. And you have to do this before you put the gears on, or you won't have very much room to do it. All right, we're all done. Behoves really well now. Got the springs on there, all the gray plastic pieces are in there, new gears here, C-clips are all on top. This was already a new gray gear from yesterday when we were working on this, before we noticed the pin was cracked a little bit. And then on the other side there, the gray pieces are all new, rinsed out the springs, put the springs back on. And through all that, we lost a couple of C-clips, one broke. One's a little deformed, and then we replaced all these gray pieces, the 4 black rollers, and that was about it.